Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Jam Week Fall 2020. My name is Kasanas. All right, guys, welcome to the end of day 2. I'm going to have to talk a little quiet here because most of my house is asleep. I got caught up in the election results and I didn't make my video. So here I am now making my video at the end of day 2. I started off with a plan. I sat down, I wrote out a list of things that I wanted to complete on day 2. Gameplay, I wanted to have a closed loop. I wanted to have end game with feedback. I wanted to return to the lobby. I wanted to scatter my players around the map. I wanted to randomly select a zombie, adjust my camera, quit the game, and fix the visibility issues. As far as UI is concerned, I want to be able to quit the game, kill human screen, and human count. Multiplayer, I had to be able to close the room when I left the lobby. Feedback, prevent movement when becoming a zombie, prevent movement when killing a human, display killing human screen, randomized audio, killing human audio, name over blood mark, and gray box a level. Those are the things I wanted to do today and day 2. I didn't, well, it's actually not even today anymore. It's now tomorrow. Anyway, this is actually day 3. It's just late. Anyway, guys, I got a bunch of that stuff done. I was able to close the loop, which is great. I was able to return to the lobby after the game ended. I was able to scatter the players around the map. And I adjusted my camera based on some initial testing I did. People thought it was too close. And the big one was fix the visibility issue. That's the one that took me the longest, and it it was a little rough just because I was mistaken on how I thought something worked. So I worked on it for hours before I finally read the documentation. Now it works perfectly fine. I was able to close the room when leaving the lobby, and I'm able to prevent movement when becoming a zombie. I also completed a gray box level. The other stuff I actually haven't completed yet, but I think I'm going to get it all done today. The one that kind of stumped me, the one that was giving me a really hard time, was the name over the blood mark. That I thought was going to be super, super easy, and it ended up I worked on it for a really long time. I think that I just don't know multiplayer well enough to be able to make it work. I'm sure it's super easy. It shouldn't be hard, but it was giving me a really hard time. Anyway, let's take a look at what I actually got finished. All right, guys, here we are inside of Unity, and I'm just going to hit play right here and get one of my clients up and operational. Not much has changed here. You can see I've still just got this really basic, ugly join scene, but if I join in at a very particular location. So here's my first player. He's joined in there. Let me run a second client so we can see how this is working. My second client, I will hit play. And my second client will join in a different location. So awesome, that's working how I'd like it. Now, what you will notice is here in the scene panel, I've got this red line that's currently showing on my screen. I had to use that to debug let me click over here. I had to do that to debug the problems that I was having with the visibility. You can see the lines that are showing here, and the big problem that I had with visibility is it wasn't working. That was the big problem I had. It wasn't working. And I worked on it for hours, and I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. It was a simple raycast. I was raycasting between two objects. Everything was in 2D. I was checking to see if something was blocking my raycast. I couldn't figure out what was going wrong. So I finally added in these debug lines, and one of the lines was pointed in the wrong direction. It's fine in this particular case that it's pointed in the wrong direction because right now there's nothing actually blocking, and this is showing, the hit point of the object that it's intercepting it. So this is working perfectly fine. But this red line here was pointed in the wrong way, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. And it took me hours, and I kept searching. I kept looking through my code, thinking I'd done something wrong. And finally, I looked at the documentation, and I had assumed that a raycast takes 2 parameters, the first parameter being the origin, and the second, the start position, the start of the ray, and the second parameter being the end of the ray. In the same way that a debug line works is what I assumed. But it wasn't working in the way I was expecting it to work at all. So I looked in the documentation, and in fact, the parameters for the raycast are the origin of the line, the start of where the line is, I guess, the origin of where the line begins, and the direction of the ray. So I just simply had to change endpoint to the direction of the ray, and everything worked fine. But I worked on it for hours and hours getting it to work properly. So guys, that's just I'm just telling you this not to make myself look foolish, but to actually suggest to you that it doesn't matter how much experience you have, you can still make mistakes and you can still get stuck on things that take a really long time. So if right now you're making your game and you're really frustrated about something, guys, just keep at it. Don't be afraid to look at the documentation. That's a big part of development. That's a big part of coding is understanding the documentation, being able to look for the things you don't understand. All right, so let's actually get into the game here. If I hit exit, you will see the same thing is actually occurring. My players have been scattered across the map. So one player's here, one player's over here. Right now I only have 2 in the scene, and everything is working here as well. So you can see that the visibility is now operational, which is great. All right, so I don't know if this game is fun yet. I have no idea. No one has actually play tested it with me. My students are all super busy, but I'd really like to play test this game to see if it's even fun. You know, I'm gonna have to be able to balance this game to see if the movement's fast enough, if the visibility is, if not visibility, but the actual like screen space is working well, all of that kind of stuff. And I don't have that yet. Hopefully I'll get that today. I do have a completed loop. Let me show you. This goes really fast right now. If you're close enough as a zombie, you can click to bite, and once there are, you know, only zombies left in the game, we go to this game over screen. I need a better beat sequence than we've got there. In fact, I should launch a some type of, you know, celebration of the fact that you bit someone, and then afterwards do the check to see if everyone is a zombie, and then afterwards go to this scene. If I click the return to lobby button, you can see that I'm automatically returned to the lobby and in my starting locations once again. So I've got myself this closed loop. That's great. This is ready to playtest. I just need people to playtest it with me. Depending on how those playtests go, if it's not super fun the way it's working currently, then I will consider adding in King of the Hill. In fact, it might be nice to have it set up so that the humans have a light, and if the zombies run into the light, then they are killed and they have to respawn somewhere. I'm also thinking it might be a really interesting idea to set it up so that the entire screen is dark and the King of the Hill areas are actually light sources. So as the humans turn on the lights, it reduces the amount of space the zombies are able to go, but it also ensures that the players have to move around the map, which is really what I want to kind of drive. Anyway, guys, that's my results so far. I've got 2 full days left. I think I'm in pretty darn good shape. I just need people to play test with me. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, let me know down below with a thumbs up. And if you didn't, a thumbs down is perfectly fine. I hope you guys are out there making your own games, doing something fun over this election week. We're going to see how that goes. I mean, I'm in Canada. It doesn't really have an effect on me. But just like everywhere else around the world, all of us are glued to those results. Anyway, guys, to all my American friends, I hope everything works out for you one way or the other. I'm sure it will. Thumbs up, thumbs down, comments down below, and if you haven't done so, please take a few seconds to subscribe. Have yourselves a wonderful day, everyone.